Teens and belly button piercings. Let's talk about it right after this intro. I'm just going to be vulnerable and transparent with you guys, right? About the BRIA'S belly button piercing. So she started asking me a month before her birthday if she could get her belly button pierced for her 17th birthday. And I was totally on the fence because when she got her last piercing on her 16th birthday, which was her nose ring, we got that done together. I had communicated with her that I wanted that to be her last piercing until she turned 18. I just felt like that was enough. So when her 17th birthday is slowly approaching and she asked me could she get her belly button pierced, my immediate answer was no. But then I started to go back and forth with myself about whether I should let her do it or not. So I was on the fence. So I got in God's presence, started praying about it like, Lord, why am I on the fence about this? Why is my answer just not no? I start to feel like, number one, I have to be a parent that stands behind her word. And so that was one thing that I kept thinking about. And then I kept thinking about how people would perceive her, because a lot of people think that teenagers with belly button rings are grown or it's sleazy or whatever the case may be. And so while I was sitting with God, he kind of showed me that I was worried about other people's opinions. But then he started to tell me that I often get stuck on the bullseye and I freeze. And so the bullseye was my initial decision for her last piercing to be her last piercing, right? And God just started telling me, like it's okay to change your mind. So I just sat in that. I sat in his presence and I started to ask myself questions like, what is my fear in saying yes? What is my fear in saying no? Weighing the pros and cons. Bria really wants to express her individuality, and I want to give her room to do that. She wants this belly button ring because, she's a type 1 diabetic and she wears medical devices, a constant glucose monitor and an insulin pump, and those are the majority of the time worn on her stomach. They began to leave scars, and so she feels like a belly button ring will take away from those scars. And so I couldn't do nothing but support that. Of course, I made her explain to me why she wanted a belly button ring, because if you want it because your friends have it, that's an automatic no. If you're following a trend, that's an automatic no. If it's to follow the crowd, that's not a good enough reason in my opinion. So if my daughter would have been like, all my friends have it, that would have been a no. Because if your friends jump off the bridge, you're going to want to do that too. So she had to prove to me that it was something that she wanted for herself, that she could keep it clean. She was responsible. She had to pay for it with her own money and research, where she would get it done based on those ratings. We ended up going to the same place where we got our noses pierced. But in a nutshell, I just decided I'm going to let her do it. Another thing that God showed me is that her high school year is a season of grace and growth for her. And so this is the time where I have to allow her to grow and practice the things that I've been teaching her. And then use those moments as more teachable moments, right? Because it's our job to teach them before we release them into the world. And if I'm not giving her opportunities and room to practice the things that she's been taught, how is that going to prepare her for the world? So I had the conversation with her, about not allowing this to push her into dressing provocatively so that she can show off her belly button ring. Like the little crop tops, I'm okay with that. But, I am training my daughter to really understand that her body is a temple. And everybody's eyes don't deserve to see her most prized possessions, if you feel what I'm saying. But I had started preparing for God, asking God to prepare my mama heart when she was a baby. Because, it's like reality. Dang, my baby growing up. You teach them, then you give them room to implement the things that you've taught them. And that's where the growing takes place. That's parenting, So I just wanted to take a moment and be vulnerable with you guys, because seeing my baby girl grow up, like, it's bittersweet. I ain't even gonna lie. Parenting is not easy, right? And so I really rely on God to guide me every step of the way and in every decision that I make. So if you are a parent and you are contemplating whether or not to allow your child to get their belly button pierced, I would say It depends on your child. Ask them why they want their belly button pierced. Make them do the research on what is required to care for a belly button piercing. Make them do the research on the risks that come along with a belly button piercing, like what could happen if it got infected. If they have a job, make them pay for it themselves. Turn it into a conversation where you can really listen to your child, but you can also teach them things in that moment. If you say no, that is your prerogative. Don't think about what other people are going to think. You are the parent. Pray about it. I literally had to sit in the presence of my father because I was so on the fence and torn because my baby's growing up. In our mind, there's things as parents that we don't want our children to do until certain ages. She is a great child. And when she asked me could she get her belly button pierced, she humbly asked me. She wasn't trying to sneak behind my back. She wasn't trying to convince me. She wasn't begging. She was reminding me to give her an answer. But I would challenge you to not get so caught up on what people would think, what age, well, no, because sometimes there is an age appropriateness to certain things, but don't get caught up on what other people think the appropriate age is. Consider your child's feelings. Listen. Pray about it. Weigh the pros and cons. And then stand behind your decision. And understand that it's okay to change your mind about how you felt about something. Give yourself grace to change your mind. Give yourself grace to make the decision and then grace to pivot and change your mind. Don't get frozen and stuck on the bullseye. This is a conversation that you also need to have with your spouse. You do not want to be sneaking behind your spouse's back doing this. You don't want to allow your child to get their piercing without consulting with your spouse first. That's not okay. That will lead to other problems. And even if you're not married to your child's father, like their father needs to be a part of the conversation. So this is a conversation that I had with my husband. My husband was okay with it. And so, my husband just helped to challenge me in why would your answer be yes? Why would your answer be no? And then I took it to my Heavenly Father. I guess what I'm trying to say is have an open mind. And if your answer is no, explain to your child why your answer is no. There are times when my answer to Nabria is no. And while she may be down about it because she was excited about the idea, ultimately she understands why my answer is no. I think it's very important to find balance. The tighter that you try to hold them close, the more they rebel. And so as a parent, to me, it is important to find balance. Like everything shouldn't be a yes, but everything shouldn't always be a no either. And so it's how can I allow room for growth? And how can I parent in a way that says there are rules, but I understand that you are a teenager. I've been there. My child is different from me. She may not be exactly how I was when I was 17 because we're two different people, two different personalities, and we were raised differently. She has to have room to express her individuality. Although your child is a teenager, that doesn't mean that they have to conform to what culture says or how culture says a teenager should be. And culture paints this picture to teenagers as if they're grown. A teenager is still maturing. And there's a reason that you're the parent. And so bring that all together in your decision making. Cheers to 17 years of being a girl mom. Y'all be blessed, and I hope this video helps you. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Happy YouTubing. Bye. Oh, and remember to adjust your crowns because royalty looks good on you, boo.